And there was a very clear explanation I think many of you will recognize. The reason why Donald Trump won in 2016 was that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs that were in Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, and 40,000 right here in Iowa. And you know when that manufacturing plant closes, what happens to that town? The shopping center dries up and blue goes to red. And that's what it shows in the data. That there's a straight line up between the adoption of industrial automation and the movement towards Donald Trump. Unfortunately, what happened to the manufacturing jobs is now shifting to other parts of the economy. How many of you have noticed stores closing here in this part of Iowa? A lot of them are, right? And why are the stores closing? Amazon. One word answer, right? Amazon's soaking up $20 billion in business every single year, closing 30% of your stores and malls, not just here in Iowa, but nationwide. How much did Amazon pay in federal taxes last year? Zero. So that is the math. 20 billion out, zero back. Yeah, he's like, what? He's looking at his dad being like, how'd that happen? How did Amazon pay less in federal tax than everyone in this room? Being a retail clerk is the most common job in most of the country. The average retail worker is a 39-year-old woman making between $9 and $10 an hour. So when her store closes, what is her next move going to be? How many of you have you seen self-serve kiosks in McDonald's or a fast food restaurant you go in? McDonald's says they'll be in every location in 2 years. They're going to go from the front of the house to the back of the house. Being a food preparer or food service worker, third most common job in the country. How many of you all know a truck driver here in Iowa? My friends in California are working on trucks and driving themselves right now. Tell me they're 98% of the way there. The reason why they're so excited about these robot trucks is $168 billion a year in cost savings if they can successfully automate trucking. I can go through this in more detail because I think it's really important. Because driving a truck is the most common job in 29 states. There are 3.5 million truckers in this country, 94% men, average age 49. So, 2% sounds like not that much until you're talking about semi-trucks, because you can't have trucks smashing into things and then being like, oh, we were mostly right. It's like 98%. And the robot trucks are really, really bad with something called snow. Because the sensors need to pick up markings on the road, and when snow covers the markings, then they're like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. That's why they test these things in Arizona, truly. They do have another testing area in Michigan, though, because they're trying to crack snow. So, the way they think they can get the last 2%, do you all remember the first time you watched TV on your cell phone? Remember that? That's 3G. Right now we're rolling out 5G around the country. And the way they believe they can get the last 2% is through something called teleoperated equipment, where the truck will be here in Iowa, driving down the highway, and then there's snow on the ground, and then the truck's not sure what to do. So what the truck's going to do is it's going to alert a teleoperator sitting in a warehouse in Nevada or Arizona, and that teleoperator is going to beam into the truck and drive it like a video game, because there are cameras on the front of the truck, so they can almost like look out at like they're in the cab. So then they drive it, and then when the computer's like, okay, I got it again, then they beam back out. What do you think the ratio will be between teleoperators in Nevada and Arizona and the 3.5 million truckers that currently drive trucks every day? 1 to 55%. Certainly not going to be 1 to 1, right? You're going to have like 3.5 million people like waiting to like hop in the truck. So what's that going to mean for the 3.5 million truckers or the 7 million Americans who work at truck stops, hotels, and diners that rely on the truckers getting out and having a meal every day? How many of you all have been to Iowa 80 in Davenport? Yeah. A very reasonably priced buffet. See the dentist? I didn't see the dentist there. 5,000 people stop in Iowa 80 every day. What happens when the number starts to plummet? Because the robot trucks don't need a meal, they don't need a dentist. And only 13% of truckers are unionized. This is not a grand negotiation. 87%, like the people you know, if you think about it, the truckers you know are probably not union. many of them actually took out $80,000, $100,000 in loans to essentially mortgage their truck. So imagine having your life savings tied up in a truck and then seeing a robot truck on the highway that never needs to stop. What's your next move going to be? These are the changes that are racking our communities that help get Donald Trump elected. The Democrats are acting like he's the source of all of our problems. He's not. He's a symptom. He's a manifestation of what people are calling the fourth industrial revolution that is about to take off and accelerate. I have been to the labs in Silicon Valley. I talked to the folks who actually are at the cutting edge of artificial intelligence and the rest of it. I mean, I'll give you an example in AI, because it's not like science fiction type stuff. You know when you call the customer service line of a big company and you get the bot? I'm sure you do the exact same thing I do, which is you pound 000, say representative, human, until you get it, right? No, we all do that. But in 2 or 3 years, the software is going to sound like this. Hey Andrew, how's it going? What can I do for you? It'll be fast, seamless, delightful. You might not even realize it's software. That's going to be AI. And that's not genuine, like, artificial general intelligence. It's not that smart, but it has 1,000 decision tree and voice prompts, maybe even mapped over a human voice. It can react to changes in your tone of voice. It can tell when you're getting mad. It can tell like all these things. That's not actual real intelligence, but it's all you need to help replace call center workers around the country. And there are 2.5 million call center workers in the United States right now making $14 an hour. I just spoke to a group of 70 CEOs in New York City, and I asked them, how many of you are looking at replacing your back office clerical workers with software and AI? Guess how many hands went up out of 70? All 70. The truth is you could fire any CEO that didn't have his hand up. It was mostly guys. I'd say his. I mean, unfortunately, it was like 60, 80 guys. If they didn't have their hand up, then they could be fired the next quarter, because that is the system we have designed. Our system is designed to optimize for the almighty dollar, for the bottom line and the corporate profits. We pretend that that's going to help us, but that relationship is now split in really, really dramatic ways. So these are the problems that are really driving all of the anxiety and stress that we're feeling. We're feeling like our kids are being left behind. Our kids are going to inherit a much darker future than the ones we have. And that is true in the numbers. If you were born in the 50s in this country, you had a 90% chance of doing better than your parents. You were born in the 1990s, it's down to a 50-50 shot. Any you want to guess where that's trending? Yeah, it's heading lower and lower. That's why, those of you who have your hands up and your parents, that's why we feel the way we do. We know that we're leaving our kids an awful mess. We know we're leaving them a more and more punishing, inhuman economy. So Trump's not the source of all of our problems. How are we going to solve for this? And I will say to you all very, very straightforwardly, my first move was not to run for president of the United States, because I'm a pretty reasonable guy. And that's a very unreasonable thing to do. So the reasonable thing to do would be to go to Washington, D.C. and say, hey, what are we going to do to let our fellow citizens know that we're in the midst of the greatest economic transformation in the history of the world? It's not immigrants. You go to a factory, it's not wall-to-wall immigrants. It's wall-to-wall robot arms and machines. Same with the Amazon fulfillment centers, wall-to-wall robots. So what are we going to do? What do you think the folks in Washington, D.C. said to me when I asked them, what are we going to do to help our people manage this time?
Who cares?
Confusion, nothing. They didn't care. You know, that's actually the fundamental truth of it. They really don't care. Indifference. But the three things they said to me, they said, number one, we cannot talk about that. Number two, we should study that further. Number three, we must educate and retrain all Americans for the jobs of the future. And I said, that sounds pretty reasonable. But I looked at the studies. Do you all want to guess how effective government-funded retraining programs work for the manufacturing workers who lost their jobs in the Midwest? 0 to 15%. Total failure. In those communities, half of those workers never work again. And of that group, half filed for disability. And you then saw surges in suicides and drug overdoses in those communities to the point that our life expectancy has declined for 3 years in a row because suicides and drug overdoses have each overtaken vehicle deaths as cause of death for the first time in American history. So when I said, I didn't say all of that necessarily. The person was like, oh, we're going to retrain people. I was like, hey, retraining doesn't work. I have the studies. And then they said, well, I don't want to tell you. I guess we'll get better at it. And then one person in DC said something to me that brought me here to you all today. He said, Andrew, no one in DC is going to touch this, because fundamentally this is not a town of leaders, this is a town of followers. Your point, they really don't care. And he said to me, the only way we will do anything about this is if you were to create a wave in other parts of the country and bring that wave crashing down on our heads. And I said, challenge accepted, I'll be back with the wave. And that was 2 years ago, and here we are. So here we are.
Yeah!
So tonight, I am, depending upon the poll you look at, 4th, 5th, or 6th in national polls to be the President of the United States. My campaign raised $10 million last quarter alone in increments of only $30 each. So my fans are almost as cheap as Bernie's. And we have gone from being something of this novelty to now rising and rising. We're one of the only campaigns that's been showing consistent growth day after day, week after week. Because people know the truth when they hear it. People understand the depth of the problems in front of them, even if our people in DC do not, or they do not care. Now, people here in Iowa, it's up to you all to reverse this tide, to humanize this increasingly inhuman and punishing system we have built, where now we're measuring ourselves by our value in terms of the capital efficiency. We're like, hey, what's that? Your trucking job doesn't have value anymore, then you also don't have value. We're going to pretend you can be retrained as a coder, even though that's ridiculous, and then you'll go home and drink yourself to death. I mean, that is essentially the society that we're operating in right now. This is the pipes, the lobbyist cash, the DC structure that does not care about us anymore. We have to shock them out of their stupor. That is really the only way we can start fixing these problems for real. What is the vision, what is the new way forward we can actually present to the rest of the country that would work, that makes sense, in an era of unprecedented economic change to help us all manage? If you're here tonight, and I think Stephanie may mention this, which I appreciate, you heard that there's a nation man running for president who wants to give everyone in the country $1,000 a month. Right? You all heard that, right? And the first time you heard that, you were like, ha, that's a gimmick, that will never happen. But this is not my idea, nor is it a new idea. Thomas Paine was for this at the founding of the country, called it the citizen's dividend. Martin Luther King fought for this in the 60s. It was what he was fighting for the day he was assassinated in 1968. 1,000 economists endorsed this in the 60s. It was so mainstream, it passed the U.S. House of Representatives twice in 1971 under Richard Nixon. It's called the Family Assistance Plan. It would guarantee a basic income for every family in the United States. And then 11 years later, one state actually passed a dividend that went out for everyone in that state gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year, no questions asked. And what state is that? Alaska. And how does Alaska pay for it? Oil. And what is the oil of the 21st century? Technology, artificial intelligence, software, self-driving cars and trucks. A study just came out that said that our data is now worth more than oil. How many of you saw that fact out there? How many of you have a Netflix password or access to one? So there's a documentary on Netflix called The Great Hack, and then it includes a study that says our data is now worth more than oil. Which it is. So if our data is now worth more than oil, where's all that money going? Did you all get your data check in the mail last month? No, so where did the data check go? Facebook, Amazon, Google, the $1 trillion tech companies that are paying zero or near zero in taxes and depleting our communities over time and paying zero back. So this is the reality of the 21st century economy. What they're doing for people in Alaska with oil, we can do for everyone in the country with technology money. Imagine if everyone in this room tonight was getting a tiny slice of every Amazon sale, every Google search, every Facebook ad, every robot truck mile. We could easily afford a $1,000 dividend for everyone here tonight and around the country. Particularly because after this money is in your hands, how would you actually spend it? Well, he said Amazon, and that's true. You would buy an extra blender on Amazon, have your eye on, like a really loud one. One that irritates everyone. semi
That would
trucks.
promote my DJing.
But how
Get
much of
phone
it would
table.
stay right here in Iowa?
Chasing storms.
Majority of it.
The action of it.
Most of it would go to car repairs you've been putting on, and daycare expenses, and Little League signups, and local organizations. This is the trickle-up economy. From our people, our families, and our communities up. This is the opposite of the trickle-down nonsense that has been weakening us for decades. This would actually work. This values us intrinsically and gives us a chance to do more of what we want to do to make our community stronger.